The moment we've all been waiting for. We are going to now explore Ripple as a theme. Around the world, Ripple is being kind of processed and spoken about by 222 other chapters. This particular event, I'm going to hand over to RJ to take us through just a really fun and improvised experience to celebrate the theme and explore it. And it's an interaction with you all. The goal of today is to actually think about what Ripple means, and then also let's collectively together, in our time together, make a ripple on the surrounding community or the world beyond even Denver, especially if you're not in Denver. So at this point, I'd like to welcome to the stage my co-host, RJ Owen. RJ, what should we know? Tell us how to play this game.
Thank you, Dave. Well, you don't have to do anything to play the game, Dave, but we have three participants, victims, whatever you want to say, who are going to be participating in a game for us this morning. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever heard of Keynote Karaoke or PowerPoint Karaoke. That's what we're going to do today. So we have, nice, okay, good. We have some people who've heard of this concept before. If you haven't, the way it works is that we have a slide deck prepared. We actually have 3 slide decks prepared, one for each one of our presenters. They're completely random images and they auto advance every 20 seconds. So the challenge for our participants this morning is to give a coherent presentation using those slides as if they had prepared this for you weeks in advance. The only thing that they will have to go on is a prompt, a call to action that I will give them at the beginning of their time. And the call to action might be something like, bake a cake this evening. So they have to give a presentation convincing you to bake a cake this evening using whatever random nonsense appears in the slide deck. So that's the game. And the idea, if you need me to tie it back to the theme, is that that call to action ripples through the presentation. That's the idea. So that's what we're going to be doing this morning.
RJ, one comment for everybody.
Yes,
if anyone is in full screen mode, in terms of what you're viewing, hit escape on your keyboard, and that'll reduce it. So then you can go up to your screen and you can select gallery view or speaker view. As soon as the presentation comes up, you can now manipulate your view better. And nice. Okay, so now hit escape. If that turned your screen into full screen, you should now be able to adjust the size of that presentation and then see the audience or see just the speaker, depending on how you want to set it up. And you still have the chat on the right, which should make the experience just amazing. Carry on.
Perfect. No, thank you. Thank you for jumping in with that to make sure that everyone's going to have the best experience possible this morning. So with that, let's get started. Our first, it just says the word rainbow. That's lame. I put it in the chat. Our first presenter this morning is our friend Jay Mays. Jay is a former Creative Mornings speaker. You may remember that he spoke to us on public speaking techniques, drawing from his background in stand-up comedy. He is a 20-year sales veteran, which is a really long time and makes him a great one of my esteemed elders. I go to Jay for advice. I'm like, what happens when my back gives out? Is it normal to be growing hair out of your ears? And it's great that Jay has been through everything at this point in his life. He's a comedy producer, recovering stand-up comedian. He's worked with the Miami Marlins, TEDx, and Live Nation, and he's a managing partner of something called Pitch Lab, where he combines the worlds of comedy and sales to help people differentiate from their competition. He is going to break the ice for us here this morning and be our first Keynote Karaoke participant. Jay, are you with us? I know
I'm here. That was awesome, RJ. Thank you for all the kind words. My favorite, because you were talking about me being your elder, my favorite is when people mess up my intro and call me a 20-year-old sales veteran. So it's a 20-year, not 20-year-old, but I do love it when people mess up like that. And let's do this. I'm ready to go.
All right, here we go. Jay, born in the year 2001, has tons of experience. Just kidding. All right, Jay, so your theme, your call to action, we're going to start you off with a really good one. I think you're going to kill this. Your call to action is tell someone you love them.
Okay.
All right, your slides are about to start. Tell someone you love them. As soon as you see the first slide, go. They will auto advance every 20 seconds. Ready, set, go.
Love is like the love that Nemo's father felt for Nemo once he was lost. It was aching. It was yearning. It was more powerful than anything in the ocean. Love is like the first time you see Big Ben on your first trip overseas. You just got through baggage check. You can't wait to get there. Maybe it was a red eye, but love for new cultures, love for time is what's pushing you. But love doesn't always have to be active. Sometimes love can be just being present, sitting in front of the TV, even though your TV is off for some reason and you have a ladder in your family room. That is still a form of love. The wrong time to tell someone you love them is when you're calling into insurance or maybe hospitality and a phone operator with a great voice says hello. That is not the right time to say love, but you can do a thumbs up because they won't know. Now, the first time I ever saw Thomas the Toy Train was here in Golden, Colorado at the Train Museum. My daughter instantly fell in love with that train, and we decided that we did not love it because we felt the prices were exorbitant. The opposite of love sometimes can be cheese. Now, especially if you're lactose intolerant, that is what love isn't. But that's not what I want to talk about today. Today, what I want to talk about is lactose. Not lactose intolerance, but love for lactose. And sometimes when you get so excited for lactose, you have to run to Vegas, see a Blue Man Group show, take it in for every single second it's worth, open up your heart, and just let Vegas's nightlife energy roll through you like the sands in a desert, even though you're thirsty. Love is never thirsty. Drinking from love will keep you quenched, will keep your life filled, will keep you moist, and will keep you filled and ready for the next. Love is like comic relief. Take a minute, folks. Take it in. Thank you so much, Dan Sheehan, for giving us a little bit of love via comic relief during this keynote. We talked about Big Ben. Maybe you go to Taj Mahal. The reason why love on vacation is so much stronger is because your senses are open. You're perceiving a new reality. Now, all the love I've been talking about is love for food, love for present, love for traveling. But what you really want to know is you need to love each other. Together, that is where love is the strongest. And even though we'll probably never stand in a room like this again for a long, long time and feel comfortable, there's still ways that we can reach out and connect and tell each other we love each other. So today, what I urge you to do is reach out to those you love, tell them you love them, and create a ripple effect that goes not only throughout our community, but throughout the entire globe. From my heart, I love you tremendously. Thank you.
Oh, I'm on mute. Jay, that was incredible. Go ahead, everyone. Take yourselves off mute. Let's give Jay a round of applause.
Woo! Woo! Oh, kid yourself not. I am a stand-up comedian. I am a stand-up comedian. I love that applause validation. So thank you for coming off a mute for that. I really appreciate it.
Jay, what would you say was the hardest part about doing a keynote karaoke presentation there?
The hardest part was when I thought I was on the flow, and then I saw like that phone operator, and then I saw the text, and I had to stop there. It was getting in that flow, and then the slides taking me immediately out of flow, I would say.
Well, you did a great job with it. Thanks for being our first participant. Nice work.
Thank you.
You know what, Jay, you were so convincing that I think that we should all listen to the things that you said, really take them to heart. So everybody, I want you to go with Jay's call to action right now. Get on your laptop, go to your email, go to text, go to Facebook, Instagram, whatever, go in the next room if there's someone you love in there, or someone who you're like okay with, but you want to think, you want them to think that you love them, that's fine too. But tell someone you love them. We're going to give you just a couple minutes to do this, and then we'll bring up our next presenter. Dave is going to sing some background music for us while we wait.
I freaking love you. I freaking love you. I freaking love you. I freaking love you. Is that good enough?
That was great, man. That was
really the best improv. I like that.
All right. While you are wrapping up telling someone you love them, I'm finding my chat script here. Next up, we have Rebecca Frost. Originating from Salt Lake City, Rebecca has been doing various forms of stand-up, improv, and sketch comedy for what seems like forever. She's also invaded the podcast world, acting as a host and panelist on several podcasts that I've heard are the best podcasts, including Rebootleggers and Geek Show Podcast. She loves animals, but she also really, really loves steak. Rebecca, do you want to take yourself off mute and say hello?
Heck yeah, hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And Rebecca, you said you have something going on tomorrow night as well, right? You have another sort of improv-y event. Do you want to tell us anything about that?
Yeah, so it's called Front Row Film Roast, and it's essentially like a Riff Tracks Mystery Science Theater 3000, where we will be watching and heckling essentially Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. We have an all-female panel this time, and all of our proceeds are going towards Planned Parenthood.
All right, and if people want to watch that, what's the best place for them to find out more information?
Oh, fabulous question.
I put you on the spot here. I didn't tell you we were going to do that.
No, I wasn't prepared. Front Row Film Roast is the name of the group. So if you're on Facebook, if you just want to search that way, it's tomorrow evening at 7.
Tomorrow at 7. Boom. All right, it's in the chat.
Fabulous.
Dave, maybe you could grab a link or somebody grab a link, put it in the chat for us. All right, Rebecca, are you ready to play some Keynote Karaoke?
Oh, I think so.
All right, your prompt, your call to action is you are going to be telling the audience why we should buy someone coffee right now.
Cool.
Ready? Buy someone coffee. I'm going to start your slides. As soon as you see your first slide, go ahead and go.
Oof, coffee. Even just thinking of the word coffee fills me with just this like warm, just really jazzed feeling, you know? It's one of my most favorite things to do in the morning. Wake up, turn on the coffee pot, and just spend the morning sitting in my hammock thinking, wow, how phenomenal. And while my view from my hammock is not as phenomenal as this Eiffel Tower, what I want to do during this presentation is I want to use this presentation as kind of like a guide, as kind of like a roadmap to help push you in the direction towards, if you're not a coffee lover, become one. You know, maybe you're stuck in your office all day and, you know, staring at a computer screen all day can be really draining. Take some breaks. You know, get up, walk to your kitchen. A lot of us are working from home. Walk to your kitchen, pour yourself a pot of coffee, and really take the time to really distance yourself from staring at your screens all day. There's a lot of scary stuff out there on the internet, right? And when you see this picture, what do you feel? This kid, obviously, he's working. You can tell by his glasses and his laptop, but he's come across some just really devastating reports. And that's not what we want to feel. We want to feel refreshed like this plant. Every time I see a plant, I think of life. I think of growth. I think of just feeling natural. And coffee itself comes from a plant. So why? It's technically vegetarian. This is I just want to take a break and I accidentally slipped this photo in. I'm a realtor by day. And that's not an improv joke. And I just accidentally snuck this photo in. I just recently sold a home, and this family has moved in, and it's really nice. Anyway, so back to our guide, back to our steps that we want to take. Like I had mentioned earlier, I really love to sit outside in my hammock and just be outside gazing at nature while I drink my coffee. It really just re-energizes me. And it's fun also. It gives me the energy that I need to get through my day. Let's say hypothetically I'm babysitting and I'm not going to stay at home. I'm going to take them to Charles E. Cheese's place of business, Chuck E. Cheese's. Not now, obviously. Things are a little dicey. I know I just said I don't like to sit them down in front of the TV, but I do want to stop and just quickly mention DuckTales is okay. If you are babysitting, maybe you've run out of coffee and the kids are just everywhere, all up in your business. DuckTales, ooh, just pop it on real quick and things will be great. Now, hypothetically, let's say it's the summer. Here in Salt Lake City, it gets really hot, gets up into the hundreds. Personally, I don't know what Denver gets up to. What are you going to do about coffee? You can't just have a hot coffee on a hot summer day. You can still have coffee. Iced coffee, it does exist. And as we wrap up, I want you to think about just the symmetry that we find in life that we're only capable of noticing once we're jazzed and full of that caffeine energy. Take a minute and just look at your everyday surroundings and see the beauty in everything. And, what I want you to take away from this, I know I've promised you a roadmap of taking the steps to provide somebody else this great feeling of being able to take the feeling that coffee gives you and project that out into the universe. And so what I want you to do is just a really simple step. In your next time you're in the drive-thru at Starbucks, pay ahead, pay it forward, pay for the car behind you, and just buy somebody a cup of coffee to make them feel as good as you feel. Thank you.
Nice work, Rebecca. Everybody go ahead and kick yourselves off mute. Give Rebecca a round of applause.
Yep.
Awesome.
Rebecca, I love the way that you handled the realtor slide. Are you really a realtor?
Yeah. Time for. I'll be a shill for a second. I work for a company called Homey. We actually just started in Denver too. So I don't know if you've seen anything for Homey, but that's who I work for.
Home with an extra E or home with a Y?
It's HOMIE.
HOMIE. Okay.
Like you're my homie.
Like you're my home. Oh, okay. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. Rebecca, what any remarks you'd want to share with us about the experience of doing Keynote Karaoke this morning?
Well, what's really funny is I tried to have a plan beforehand. And I don't know why I thought that would work because it never goes that way with improv. So I don't know. I was really thrown off by the DuckTales image.
Well, I knew you were a DuckTales fan, so I thought you'd appreciate that one.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, Rebecca, you were also so convincing that even though I'm in my basement and I'm taking part in Creative Mornings, I really want to share coffee with someone right now. And I'm sure you all do as well. So we're going to give you 2 minutes. And what I want you to do is take out your phone And if you have one of those ways to send people money, send someone $5, $10 and say like, hey, your next coffee's on me. I want you to know I'm thinking about you and I want to buy you some coffee. Or if this is better for you, make a plan, even if it's vague, to get coffee with someone in the future. Or if coffee is not your thing, go with tea or whatever. You can interpret this on your own. But make a plan with someone and say, hey, in the next couple months or when we're both vaccinated, I would love to take you out for coffee. So we're going to give you 2 minutes. Dave, can you improvise a song about coffee for us?
Sure. Sipping on that Joe, sipping on that Joe. Oh, you know, it's me over here just sipping on that Joe. Sipping on that Joe, sipping on that Joe. Oh, it's just me over here sipping on that Joe. Was that 2 minutes? It felt like eternity. Good Lord.
You did. That was amazing. That was amazing.
Thank you.
We never knew that this was part of your skill set. And you and I didn't talk about this ahead of time. So thanks for letting me put you on the spot. You're doing great with the musical interludes.
I'm doing my best.
All right, everyone. Our final presenters are a duo. We have Shane McAllister and Scott Beck. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to get the emoji right on your introduction. Bam. Scott is an experience writer. He writes about experience. He writes experience into existence with the power of his words. And Shane is an experience designer. He designs those experiences into the fabric of reality through the power and arcane energy of the company known as Ogilvy. They're also good friends. They went to the same high school and they were roommates 15 years ago, which gives them an extra special bond. Scott and Shane, welcome. Thank you for playing our game here this morning. Why don't you come off mute and introduce or say hello?
Thanks for having us. RJ, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Is there anything you want us to know before we drop you into the cauldron of Keynote Karaoke?
I think I'm ready.
I mean, neither of us are comedians. Neither of us are very funny.
Definitely not.
I think a sort of horrible trick was played on us that landed us here today. So
hope it goes okay.
The two least funny people speaking this morning are, no, that's great. Yeah, I emailed our contact over at Ogilvy and I said, hey, you guys do a lot of presentations. Do you have anyone who might be up for random presentation improv? And you two were pushed to the front to be sacrificed on the altar. So thanks for being good sports about it.
Yeah, excited to do it.
it feels like when Carrie gets prom queen and then they dump pig's blood on her, kind of. But in a good way, in a really positive way.
Like a friendly pig's blood. All right, so Scott and Shane, you have decided, you told me this ahead of time, that you're going to alternate every slide.
We might do some of that. We might just pick up, where the pauses drop. So we're just going to kind of keep it pretty loose to start, I think. But yeah, there might be some of that too. Okay,
great. So you guys are going to be sharing the stage here together. All right, your call to action is to write a haiku for a coworker. You're going to be giving us a presentation on the importance or the value, or convincing us that what we should do is to write a haiku for a coworker.
Cool.
All right.
All right.
Your slides, you can start. Ready, set, go.
Poetry is everywhere around us, as we all know. You see it in nature, you see it in man-made structures, you can see it in the ripples of fur on a tiny little chipmunk. And when you really ask, what I'm trying to go for here, you might say, I really want to take a big bite out of life and to move forward.
And there doesn't have to be anything scary about it. Sometimes sharing poetry, even if it's a 5-7-5 structure, is all your coworker really needs to kind of get them through a tough week. It's can really kind of breathe life into someone and kind of help eliminate that fear.
And speaking of numbers and math, the strategy behind the way that we attack writing a haiku is thinking many steps in advance. how's that 5-7-5 going to structure, going to attack the hearts and minds of the people we're writing them for? So a lot of times we'll find ourselves in a tough situation.
And that doesn't mean that you have to shy away. There are people out there that want to do you and your computer harm, but do they not deserve a little bit of poetry in their lives? I think they do. So think about that person, that kind of like really irks you, and think, what kind of a poem would they like to read?
Yeah, maybe the way that you solve that is you capture them in the act with a camera and send them right to prison. While they're in prison, guess what you can do? You can write a goddamn haiku about it and send it to them. And we all know that that's the solution we want. Scott knows it, I know it. Let's just say it at the same time. When I'm ready to do it, I send it. And that might be very funny, it might bring back memories. You remember graduating from high school or college, and this is perfect kind of fodder for a haiku. There's rivers and streams and forests, of course, but also some of those happy memories and celebrating birthdays. These are the kind of things you might want to imbue your poem with that you share. Absolutely. Whether you studied English and you're a great poet, or when you're just celebrating and want to spice up your young daughter's life with a haiku, it can work either way. Or if you're in finance and you have a great view, you want to write a haiku about how nice things look in the city and how successful you are and how gorgeous the sky is. Maybe it's something along the lines of, I've never seen this before, but now I do, and that is cool
and brings joy, right? And we think about some of our childhood memories and some of the purple dinosaurs that brought us a lot of joy or haunt our dreams. And again, these are the kinds of things that weaving this in, there's an emotional response when you kind of trigger these memories, right? And it's it could be as silly as slipping on a banana peel. It could be a thought that you had the other day sitting on the toilet.
Absolutely, 100%. And we're not cartoons. We don't slip on banana peels very often, but it can happen. That's what's important. Anything can happen, and it's important that we write about it, whether that's in haiku form or not. So as we get down to it and we think about haikus in their greatest written form,
we'll remember the words of David Ogilvy, which were, we did this together.
Absolutely, 100%. So
go out there and write your coworker a haiku today. And
to end, I think we'll end with a haiku of our own.
Right.
You do the first line, I'll do the second.
Okay, so coffee in the morning
makes me feel proud to be here.
A gerbil on Earth.
Oh, that was incredible. Good job, guys. All right, everyone, take yourselves off mute.
Amazing.
Gerbil on Earth.
Love
That was
the
amazing.
gerbil.
That was gibberish, but it was fun. Thanks for
You did a great job. I loved the haiku at the end. That was super fun. Scott and Shane, any words of advice for anyone else who might be playing PowerPoint or Keynote Karaoke this afternoon?
I would say it certainly takes the pressure off to do it with a friend. If you have a longtime friend you feel safe quarantining with, or having in your bubble, that's helpful. So
yeah, definitely. I think it was fun to kind of bounce ideas off, and Shane and I have kind of been in a pod throughout this whole thing and been working together. So we decided we'd be sitting in the same room, and it was it felt very natural for the most part.
As natural as can be.
Good. Well, thank you again for doing it this morning. Do you ever wind up writing haikus as part of in your work at Ogilvy? Does Ogilvy use a lot of haikus?
No, unfortunately. I think it's an untapped form for web content, actually. Yeah. No, I do. I write poems outside of Ogilvy, but I don't do a whole lot of haiku writing.
Okay.
But I enjoy it very much.
I want to thank, before that, you were so convincing. Scott, you may have not had a lot of opportunities to write haikus or may not be practiced with it, but you inspired me so much that what I want to do is take a critical 5 minutes out of our time here this morning and follow your advice. We're all going to take some time, 5 whole minutes here, to write a haiku for a coworker, and then send that off. Email, snail mail, text message, whatever's best for you. But it should be someone that you work with. Write them a haiku. I'm going to do this as well. 5 minutes. Dave, I'm not going to make you sing for 5 minutes. That seems too long.
Well, what about a minute?
You could sing for 1 minute. You
All
want
right,
to?
I think I got one. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. You and me, haiku-ing like we're free. Oh, you and me, we be haiku-ing like we free. You and me, we be haiku-ing like we free. You and me, haiku-ing like we free.
That was beautiful. All right, 3.5 more minutes. I'm not going to break the mood that Dave set here. 3.5 minutes. This is Creative Mornings Public Radio. One more minute on your haiku.
You and me, haiku-ing like we free. Oh, you and me, haiku-ing like we free.
All right, friends. Well, thanks for joining us this morning, taking part in all of our Ripple activities. I want to invite people to share here in just a moment. If you want to share about your haiku, or the person who you want to have coffee with, or the person who you texted or whatever to tell them that you love them earlier, we would love to hear about it. But first, let's everybody come off mute if you would, and please give another round of applause to all of our PowerPoint karaoke participants this morning. You all did a fantastic job. That was super fun. I put some links to their information here in the chat. Jay Mays runs, as we mentioned, the organization Pitch Lab, and he runs coaching and training exercises where you will play games like this. After our dry run, he had me do one where I told Batman's origin story while Jay dropped random words into a chat that I had to work into what I was saying. And it was incredibly fun. I think we should just play games like this just for fun. But if you want to do that for work, talk to Jay. You can check out Pitch Lab. Rebecca Frost has a website. It's nottaylorswift.com, where you can find links to everything that she is doing, taking over the internet, or check out Homey if you are looking to buy a home. Shane and Scott work at Ogilvy. I put Ogilvy's link in there. Shane and Scott, if there's anything else you want to share, please feel free to drop it into the chat. I didn't ask you about any of your personal ventures or things that you have going on outside of Ogilvy, but there you go. This is your forum. Drop something in there if you would like to. So now I'd love to have some folks come off mute, maybe raise your hand in the chat. There's a way to do this where you can, Dave, do you remember how to raise your hand?
Yeah, it's in your reactions, or it's on your, at the bottom of your participant guide, I believe, or your participant panel. And I would even encourage you guys, we want to hear who came to mind and who did you deploy that ripple effect on in our time today, or just who in your life can you attribute getting to where you're at right now? Who is that original, pebble in the water that led to and started the ripple effect of your life that led to today? Who can you attribute that to? Just stories about them. This is a chance to maybe honor them and celebrate them, all on behalf of us thinking about going forward. What are the ripple effects we want to create on the world around us? So I see a couple people with their hand raised. RJ, you want to call on one of them?
Well, yeah, I was going to ask Garrett, do you maybe want to kick us off since you shared yours in the chat? Tell us about your haiku, and then it sounds like you sent it to your mom. No, you don't want to go? Okay, you don't have to.
I didn't send it to my mom. I sent it to
coworker.
my coworker.
Yes. Good.
I actually read it to my coworker.
Oh, nice. Wonderful. And yours was, I'm trying to bring it up here. Do you want to read it?
Creative Mornings told me to write you a goddamn haiku. So here.
So good. Thanks, Garrett. Annie, would you like to share next? Annie, with your hand up. Or you might be sharing. I just asked you to unmute. 3, 2. Are you here, Annie?
Annie, are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
There you go. There it is. All right, Rachel. Rachel, you're up.
Getting off of video. So the haiku that I wrote, I work from home. So and my husband currently works right over there. I'm at my desk, he's right there, and I'm in this wall of a cubicle. But I did not write this haiku for him because right now he's in the other room, not feeling good, having been stuck with the second COVID vaccine. But my haiku is making all the things, creative, original, breathe in the spring air. And when I was thinking about like who is somebody that has created a ripple effect in my life, the guy that comes to mind every time, his name is Eddie Demerit. I met Eddie when I was 5 years old, and Eddie was in his 20s. And Eddie was the kind of guy that paid attention to everybody that was around him. And he always took the time to say hello to me. And that just struck me of how an adult who wasn't my parents could take an interest in the My Little Pony that I just bought, or the hair bows that were in my hair, like, and genuinely just being like saying, Rachel, why is that important to you? And I now try to do that with other people. Like, why is that important to you? Paying attention to the people that, most people don't even recognize are there. And I know that I wouldn't be doing that if it wasn't for Eddie.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Annie, you chatted me and said that you will share your Ripple person. Go ahead, tell us. Come off of mute.
So my Ripple person is the lady in where I work. I work at the Beaver Valley Intermediate Unit here outside of Pittsburgh. And when I first started working there, the HR person that I talked with was very friendly, very helpful, very full of resources. When she retired, I took her position, and I try to emulate her. I know how I felt when I was new coming into the organization and how she made me feel by being friendly, sharing all kinds of things that I never thought about. So I think about her every day when other employees email me or call me and say, yeah, I need help with this. I am always telling them, it's not a problem. And somebody at work is calling me right now, so I gotta go. But
Thank you,
you.
Annie. Thank you so much. All right. Who else would like to share here this morning? Annie, thank you for sharing. That was beautiful. I know you're jumping on a call with your coworker, but really appreciate that. Who else would like to share? Jay Mays, it looks like you got replaced by a small child.
We don't have any haikus, but this is Ella.
Hi,
What's
Ella.
up, Ella?
Ella, who's someone who's made a big difference in your life?
I don't know.
Just one person. Anybody.
Name somebody. Just name somebody.
Daddy.
Yeah!
Oh, hey, that's great. Yeah, thanks, Ella. Would anybody else be up for sharing their haiku? Dave, did you write a haiku?
I sure did. I'd be happy to share it. Let's see, 12 years ago. This is dedicated to this woman in my life named Dana Dupuy, who lives, she lives now in Carbondale, but I met her in Boulder at a leadership communication firm. And now my entire world, I'm in that space. I do training and workshops. Maybe some people don't know that. Most of you don't know that necessarily. And I do leadership communication training with a focus on teaching people a practical toolkit called listening intelligence. So you can bring our attention and elevate listening to center stage. And Dana is the person who, I don't know, she's been a mentor, a friend of mine forever. And she created this entire methodology focused on listening to help leaders and salespeople and so forth actually harness that discipline. So I wrote this, which I have yet to send her. I will, though. I just didn't get it in an email yet. But great, bold listener, curious, patient, loving, guiding the new world. So
That was great. Thank you, Dave.
hey, sure. I see. Oh, that's someone clapping. Thank you, Victoria. Who else? I mean, this is a chance to honor the people in your lives that created a ripple effect on your life. Who else deserves a little bit of love and acknowledgement in your world? Hey, David, tell us.
Hi, all. Good morning. So on the Ripple side, a person who was on this call, Barbara Neal introduced me to Creative Mornings and a whole bunch of others. And then the ripple of that is I introduced other people into the group, both locally and around the world. So that's the ripple effect I see from this organization overall. But the haiku I wrote is not exactly about that. It's actually about a friend of mine who I guess we all can relate to in the last year. Tests are obviously a key thing, and health is a key thing to everyone. So my thinking is about a friend who actually has a major medical test today, and I'm hoping for good results. So that idea is tests are often tests, anticipation abounds, results await us. So very simple.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, best wishes to your friend too, David. Thanks for sharing. Who else?
I'll go.
Please, Blackwell Space.
All right.
What's your?
Yep. My name is James. So a few weeks ago, my company let me go. And we just relocated from Boston out to Colorado, which was a big reason that, job switching is taking place. And I have one coworker who I used to do triathlon training with and all this stuff. And I was working for Philips. It's a giant company, so I haven't had occasion to reach out to her. And so I wrote her a haiku that goes like this. Whilst I swim of you, often think, we'll miss you. My boss let me go.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
James.
So I'm in a good space, and my kids are on spring break, like probably some of yours this week. So it's easy to not be concerned with anything work related. But, one of the things I've learned is that through this is that keeping my mouth shut about the stuff that's bugging me probably isn't that helpful. So here's my attempt to step up on stage and be vulnerable, like Brene says.
Well, props, James. James, you're in Colorado now?
Yeah.
In Denver proper or Boulder or whereabouts?
Boulder area. We moved up to Longmont. So
gotcha. Tell us about your quick forte, and maybe we can all support you in your journey.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm a product designer. I do UX, UI, but I do visual design, all that stuff as well. I've done, my background was originally in e-commerce, and that's how I got into workflows and all that. For the last 8 or 9 years, I've been doing like workflow automation. So most recently, I was leading experience design for Philips Innovation Hub in Cambridge, working with scientists. I got to, the biggest bummer is that this all happened because my project came to an end because of a government contract. So it wasn't like, hey, you're fired. It was like, hey, by the way, you decided to move out west, go find another job, but been working with wearables and all kinds of different data feeds, stuff like that. So anyone interested in that kind of stuff, that's why I put my Twitter and Instagram and all that in the chat.
And RJ just dropped it in there, but don't forget Ogilvy as our local sponsor.
I seen him on LinkedIn already, and I haven't done the agency thing before, but I like David Ogilvy, so I was glad the guys quoted him.
Well, Scott and Shane can vouch. You might have to write a haiku for your job application, but you got that nailed. So.
As long as I don't have to freestyle like they did, but you guys did great.
Right on. Yeah, we're there are big changes at Ogilvy right now. The new CEO and director of experience are really pushing experience design, which Ogilvy has been known as more of an advertising agency, obviously. But jump online on ogilvy.com and check out the careers. And reach out to Scott or I too on LinkedIn.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That ripple effect gave me shivers. I love that right there. That's what I'm talking about. What else is out there, guys? Tell us about your lives and people that matter to you. Anyone?
Speaking of UI UX, that is also my career. And I was thinking about, I used to work at Effective UI, which later turned into the Ogilvy Denver office. And while I was there, I was lucky to meet a woman named Joy Sykes. And Joy took over the research practice. She started a UX research practice, and I had been a software developer. And I'd been trying to get into design, couldn't find a good opportunity. And she took a chance on me and let me transfer into her department. And now I'm a UX director at Salesforce. That's been my career for like the last 12 years. And it never would have happened if she hadn't had some faith in me and given me that opportunity. So that's created a huge ripple in my life.
Nice. That's a great. Shane and Scott are taking off. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time and your improv. You guys are awesome.
Thanks so much for having us. So
guys,
we have another meeting that popped up to prep for. Thanks for having us so much, and take care.
Happy Friday. Happy Ripplin.
You too.
Maybe one more. Does anybody else want to say anything? Share your haiku. Tell us about who you want to buy coffee for.
I'll go. Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
So I'm Violeta Garcia. And I guess the person who had a ripple effect was when I was in college, I was a biology major. And she read an essay that I wrote to study abroad. And her name was Dana. I don't remember her last name, but she had a ripple effect because she said, your story is so powerful. More people need to hear it. So I need you to go to the president's office right now and share this with him. And I thought, what? The university president? And so what that created was the ability to ask for what I needed. And so I needed money to study abroad because my parents didn't have any money. And so that ripple effect led to $500,000 of scholarships after that. So I paid for my undergrad, my master's, and my PhD. And I have a PhD in biological sciences now. So it's one of those ripple effects. And now I've turned that passion into creating systems for organizations to make sure that they thrive with their people. So I went from biological systems, looking at animals and plants, to human design systems. And which is really interesting because we there's almost like a disconnect between UX and science, but it really is an intersection of both. So that's what I do now. I'm pretty much have a little startup called Ecosistema Design, and I help our organizations, nonprofits, really look at their system and really find the opportunities that they can leverage. But with that, my coworkers right now are my two children. So I wrote my little haiku for them. And it goes, beautiful children, creative, curious, and kind. I love you, daughters.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Aletta, what city are you in? What part of the
Denver.
world? Oh, you're in Denver. Great.
Yes. Mhm.
Cool. Well, welcome. I'm glad you're here. That's a
Thank
great
you.
story. That's a great grand finale, maybe, but I don't want to. We have plenty of time to hear one or two more stories about people that have impacted you, or I'm curious to expand on even David's idea. Like, how did you find Creative Mornings? Oh, Sarah, is that your hand up? Your real hand up.
Yeah,
Let's
if you
hear it.
want.
Yeah,
If you
please.
want, I can tell you. Stan Bornstein is the one who made my life what it is today. When I graduated from college, I was appalled that I was not granted a job immediately. And so I hung up posters all over Boston that basically said I would do anything for money. And Stan was the ad agency guy who took down my number and contacted me and ended up hiring me, mentoring me. And that was just, he changed my life.
Oh man, props to Stan. Did you write him a haiku?
Well, it was supposed to be for a coworker. My only coworker is my dog, Freddie. So I wrote one for him.
I'm curious, what was the compelling copy in that flyer?
I don't think it was amazing, to be honest. It said recent Wellesley graduate and aspiring stand-up comedian, can do anything you need her to, or something. I said that, I had a car and I was on the tee, and anyway, it basically had the facts. I don't think it was incredibly clever.
But it worked. I love it.
Yeah.
I have a car, please give me work.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there like that. Good things will happen. That's amazing.
Advertising works. That's what you should conclude.
Yeah, right. Wonderful. A final, going once, going twice. Anyone else out there who, if you're on the fence, it'd be a shame not to celebrate that person who's on the tip of your tongue. Who is that person? One more share. Anyone from the Creative Mornings team?
Dave, my brother Scott joined us this morning. And, I don't know if he's going to say that I'm the person who made the biggest impact on his life, but he said he has a silly haiku that he'd be willing to share.
Yeah, where's Scott?
Hey, this is Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah, I'm one of RJ's brothers, so maybe 1/4 of impact on my life, you could say. Here's my haiku. I love cheeseburgers without any dumb veggies. Keep that shit off it.
All right, just the meat and the cheese and the bun.
Yeah, only meat. You can have bun, of course, obviously.
He loves that lactose that Jay was talking about.
That's right. A cheesy lactose. And
Yeah,
bun.
it's like a blue man group in my tummy.
I love that you said tummy. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody take a giant deep breath and just honor the people in your life that have created the ripple effect that led you to this point, and take inventory of the opportunity going forward. Each and every person you encounter is someone who you're potentially going to impact, or they may impact you, but you are the steward of your ripple effect. So just think about how you are impacting others and adding positivity to a tumultuous, chaotic, interesting world, and pay it forward. So appreciate everybody's willingness to do the improv. RJ, thank you for leading us through Keynote Karaoke, PowerPoint
Keynote
Karaoke.
Karaoke. Yeah, we
Keynote
used to,
Karaoke.
let's call it that. Yeah, that was fun. Thanks everybody.
And props to everyone for sharing your ripple effect. Definitely buy somebody some coffee if you haven't already executed that action. Tell people you love them, and get creative, and let people who you work with, who you have to create and be productive with and solve problems, let them know that you appreciate them, even if it's not through a haiku. But I think that's kind of a special thing to do as well. So see y'all.